If everyone could please find a seat. Please make your way in. We have come together this Yom Kippur to take stock of ourselves and the world around us. Our fast helps us hear the hush of our surroundings. And so we slow down. We relax our shoulders. We find our makom kavua, our safe space around us. We focus in on a few moments of reflection and prayer. The afternoon service, and we put a new spin on it. We begin with the prayers for healing, individual healing, and for the community. We intersperse our Jonah stories throughout the service. We reflect, we meditate, we prepare ourselves wholly and completely for this moment. We build then towards the afternoon service of the holiness code that we read in the book of Leviticus. And then, after Torah and the Haftorah of Jonah and the stories of being in the belly of the whale, we come out. We come out together for the beautiful service of Yizkor, a service of remembrance that leads right into ilah, the high point of Yom Kippur, the moment when the gates are closing and we make our way in to be sealed for a good year, for a year of blessing, for a year of health. What we need more than anything is comfort. the beautiful words of the Haftorah from the book of Isaiah. Nachamu, Nachamu Ami. Comfort, comfort my people. And so as we weave throughout this service, we come back each time to these words of comfort.
Nachamu, Nachamu, Ami, Yomar Elohechem, Nachamu, Nachamu, Ami, Yomar Elohechem, Nachamu.
Taking our healing service booklets and turning to page 2. We have come together on this Yom Kippur to take stock of ourselves and the world around us. Our fast helps us hear the hush of our surroundings. In the quiet of this holy space, let us pause to reflect on the imperfections of our bodies, the conflicts in our minds, the disharmony in our souls, the tensions in our community, the shattered nature of our world. We need healing in so many areas of our lives. Each of us, all of us, have the capacity to find strength and healing if only we can attune ourselves to God's presence. Join our spirits together as we focus upon the nature of God's healing presence in our bodies, our minds, our souls, our communities, our world. We turn to page 9, where we find words of Mi Sheberach, prayer for healing, words that have become so much a part of our liturgy and our service, an opportunity to say what is so deeply inside of our hearts, the deep longing for healing for ourselves, for our loved ones, for our community, for our world. We join thinking of so many on this Yom Kippur in need of healing.
we continue on page 10. Now we have an opportunity to do what we may have been trying to do for hours, days, weeks, or even months. We have an opportunity to forgive those who have hurt or have wronged us. We might be willing to do it for their sake, but if not, we should be willing to do it for our own. Resentment, grudge-bearing, and antique anger contaminate our lives. Forgiving those who have wronged us allows us to jettison the pollutants of our souls.
Teach me, O God, a blessing, a prayer on the mystery of a withered leaf, on ripened fruit so fair, on the freedom to see, to sense, to breathe, to know. Morning and night you renew your days. Bless my days be as the one before. Less routine set my ways. Love daily, aloha.
The book of Jonah is a story about a man whose greatest struggles are not with a big fish or a pagan city. They're with battles that take place within his own heart. The book of Jonah is unique because it's not about prophecies as other prophetic books are. It's actually about the prophet. We're given deep insight into the struggles of a man of God, a deeply spiritual man. At the time Jonah was in the fish, he encountered God in a remarkable way, a true testimony of resilience, determination, and resolve. Jonah faced the challenge that each of us are faced with on a daily basis. This year, instead of reading the story of Jonah, we've asked 3 individuals from our congregation to share personally with us their unique and personal stories of resilience, determination, resolve. Each one unique, each one personal. So often we are presented with difficult choices. Sometimes they just seem too difficult. We're afraid, we don't want to interfere, we don't see the problem as our responsibility. One of the messages of the story of Jonah and Yom Kippur in general is that we cannot in good faith make the choice to avoid the reality that's before us. We have to confront hard issues. And so, we begin our Jonah reflections with our first speaker, Jody Glickman, to share the story of her brother.
I didn't think I'd be the first speaker. My name is Jody Glickman, and my mom, Merle Passis, and her husband, Dennis, are members here. I live in the city. My brother, Jay Glickman, passed away this year. He was homeless for 8 years, living on the streets of LA. And early last year, I took my then 13-year-old daughter to meet her uncle for the first time, my brother. And when I spoke about him at his funeral, Rabbi Steve asked me to speak to you all today a little bit about our experience and our life. Sorry. So I'm going to read some words of what I spoke about when Bella, my daughter, when I took her to LA to meet her homeless uncle. As Bella and I flew to LA, I talked about the fact that I was super nervous that we wouldn't see him, that we'd fly all the way there and not get to see him because he was in touch on and off, but not regularly. And we wound up connecting with him, and he told us where he was. And I wrote that as we headed to the address that afternoon, I did my best to prepare Bella for who and what we might encounter. I explained, as any responsible parent would, that I didn't know whose house we were headed to or what the state of the neighborhood would be. I was adamant we would not go inside. My biggest fear was putting Bella in any kind of danger, physical or emotional, or hurting her in any way. This is homelessness, after all. It's scary and sad, confusing and confounding, heartbreaking and tragic all at the same time. It's something most of us recede from, like a contagion. Don't get too close, that's what we tell ourselves. Was I mad, taking my dear sweet Bella straight into harm's way, to the streets of LA to meet her homeless uncle? I asked myself that question over and over. Ultimately, I came to the answer that I was not crazy. It was a mitzvah and a simcha, and there was so much good that came out of our visit. And within truly minutes of meeting each other, they were making fun of me. She had never met my big brother. She had never seen someone make fun of me as their sibling. And they were laughing, and they were joking, and they were talking, and it was a beautiful, beautiful moment. And afterwards, Bella would tell me 3 things when we flew home a couple days later. She said, 1, she fell in love with her Uncle Jay. She said, 2, he was her favorite person in the world. And 3, I was so lucky to have him as a big brother, which I am, and I was. And I said at the time, it was worth noting, she didn't say it with irony, and I didn't receive it with any. It was just truth. He was an amazing big brother. When I tell people that I have a brother who was homeless, I didn't tell many people for a long time because it made them so uncomfortable. And it was just something that we don't really talk about in polite society. But I'll share with you what I think about homeless today after living through it and experiencing it and empathizing with my brother and with the people I met who lived in similar circumstances. First, no one grows up hoping to become homeless. No one chooses to live without shelter or food or comfort or security. And while some homeless people choose to stay that way once they're there, no one sets out with that destination in mind. Connection, community, safety, security, those are basic human rights that we all deserve. Second, instead of feeling guilty every time you pass a homeless person and don't have anything to give or don't want to give, I'll ask you to do this. Acknowledge their presence. A simple nod or a hello or a smile or a God bless is incredibly powerful. They are people too. They have families and stories and backgrounds. This is the standard that I hold myself to, that my children hold themselves to. And I'll leave you just with a thought of the way that Jay thought about homelessness. He called it living outside. He was technically homeless, but he wasn't helpless, he wasn't friendless, he wasn't meaningless or purposeless or dignityless. He simply lived outside. Outside the 4 walls of a home, outside the boundaries of polite society, outside the norms and standards that are imposed on him by others. It's certainly not what I would have ever chosen for him, but I never lost my respect for him. And I believe that he did the best he could He lived a life of faith within the Orthodox Jewish community in LA. He worked when he could. He scraped by when he could. He probably lied and cheated, maybe worse, when he needed to, but he persevered. He believed in God. He was deeply religious. He lived by a moral code, and he was a good man through and through. So I will thank you all for the bags that you've all created and for providing such an amazing community for my mom and for my family. Thank you.
In Jay's memory, at every Shabbat service, there's a small little bag. And we're going to provide them for all year long. And if you see someone on the street, feel free to take one of those bags and drop it off. It's the least we can do. Because what I learned from Jody this year is that every single person we see on the street might have a niece named Bella and an amazing, amazing sister named Jody and an amazing mom named Merle, and they all have a family. And so we bring them comfort. Nachamu, nachamu ami.
Nachamu, nachamu, ami yomar Elohechem. Nachamu, nachamu, ami yomar Elohechem. Comfort us in our wilderness. Comfort us as we struggle to take care of one another. Comfort us in our wilderness. Comfort us as we struggle with this world.
Page 13. God, Holy One of blessing, I come before you with many feelings. I have accomplished much and yet wanted more. My acts have given love to others. My words have given encouragement and comfort. Yet there are actions I wish I had taken, words I wish I had spoken, some I wish I could take back. There are accomplishments I wanted to achieve but did not. I have apologized for hurts I have caused. I have forgiven others. Sometimes my feelings are clear, sometimes they are not. I pray that whatever the stirrings of my heart, they bring me closer to my true self, to my loved ones, and to you. Created by you, I seek to live ever more fully in your image. I seek peace for myself and my loved ones. At this time, may my life be filled with warmth and wholeness, comfort and healing. And so we turn to page 17, where we find a prayer for healing, asking God to heal us now.
Refa'enu Adonai v'nerafeh, Hoshienu v'nivasheya, El karov lechol korav
נברך את נחלתך, אורים ונשאים עד העולם. מי שברך אבותינו, מי שברך אמותינו, אנא אדוני הושיענה.
We pray for healing of all people. We pray for healing of the land and peace for every race and nation, every child, every human and in land. Heal us now. Heal us now. Heal us now. Heal us now.
One of the other unique privileges of the afternoon service of Yom Kippur. It's the only time we go to the Ark and we take out our Holocaust Torah and we read from it. It's by far the oldest scroll that we have. And we are the stewards of an amazing, amazing heritage from the Westminster Synagogue in London, where they found 1,500 scrolls after the Holocaust that were scheduled to be destroyed or to be put in a museum to tell the history of an extinct people. We have scroll 134. Rabbi Kudan acquired that scroll in the very early years of Am Shalom, right when the Westminster Synagogue made these scrolls available, right when the Scrolls Trust was formed. And we still have to keep updates of how the scroll is doing. We have to still be in touch with them. It's on a permanent loan to us for 99 years, and then we will have to renew. But it's not our scroll. It is the Jewish people's scroll. It was from a very large congregation in a very small town in Czechoslovakia. My son Noah was able to take that scroll back to Czechoslovakia with us. And at his bar mitzvah 13 years ago, we read from that scroll back in the very same spot that it was kept for 50, 75, 100 years. There was no heat in the building. And when we spoke, you could see the smoke. You could see the frost coming off. And we huddled together and we read Torah in that room. And we made that promise to never forget. The scroll is in such fragile condition that literally we only read it once a year, tonight. We gather today to give thanks for Torah of life, the way of kindness, mercy, and truth. May compassion be our source of sustenance now, as in our people's past. Page 328 May our souls withstand times of crises and our hearts the inclination to evil. May the covenant of Abraham and Sarah strengthen our will to do what is right. May the qualities of mercy and goodness, love and forgiveness flow through our lives. And let us be strong in a perilous world. Let us open our hearts to the path, to the beauty, to the uniqueness, to the fragility, and to the essence of Torah. Please rise.
Adonai, Adonai, Erachum v'chanun Adonai, 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 Erachum v'chanun Adonai,
Erech
Erech Apayim Erav Chesed Adonai, Notzer Chesed Lalafim, Notzer Avon Vafesha Vechata Venakeh Adonai, Adonai, Erachum v'chanun Adonai, 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 Erachum v'chanun Adonai, Erech Apayim Erav Chesed ve'emet Adonai, Notzer Chesed Lalafim, Notzer Avon Vafesha Vechata Venakeh Adonai, Adonai, Erachum v'chanun Adonai, 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 Erachum v'chanun Adonai.
Leviticus, the holiness code. Some say it's the very center of the Torah. Leviticus chapter 19. It says, Kiddushim tihiyu, you shall be holy. It's not an option, it's not a multiple choice question, it's a command. Kiddushim tihiyu. The only thing Marilyn Schoenfeld loved almost as much as music is Torah. And so it's an honor to have the Schoenfelds offer the Torah blessing today. Cheryl, it's an honor to have you with us back from Arizona, our furthest Torah reader. Blessing first. You guys ready? Here you go.
Baruch et Adonai Hamborach.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Hamim V'natan Lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Vayidabar Adonai El Moshe Lemor. More. Daber El Kol Adat B'nei Yisrael V'amarta Alehem Kedoshim Tiyu Ki kadosh ani Adonai Elohechem. Ish imo va'aviv tira'u et shabtotai tismaru. Ani Adonai Elohechem. Al tifnu el ha'elilim velohei masacha lo ta'asu lachem. Ani Adonai Elohechem.
Second reader.
Uvkutrehem et kitzir artzachem lo tichale peat sarcha ligzor veleket kitzircha lo telaked v'charmacha lo teolel uferet karmacha lo telaked le'ani velager ta'azov otam ani Adonai Elohechem lo tignovu velo tekakashu velo tishakru ish ba'amitov velo tishavu bishmi lashaker v'chilalta et shem Elohecha ani Adonai lo ta'ashok et reacha velo tigzol lo talin peulat sahir itcha ad boker.
Lo tikala charesh velifnei ver lo tikoton mikshol ve'areta melohecha ni Adonai lo tasu avel b'mishpat lo tisa fenei dal velo tadar penei gadol betzedek tishpot amitecha lo telech rachil be'amecha lo ta'amod al dam ra'echa ani Adonai lo tisna et achicha b'yovavecha hocheach tochia et amitecha velo tisa alav chet lo tikom velo titor et b'nei amecha ve'havta l'reach kamocha ani Adonai.
A recipe for holiness of what we should do to achieve that level of holiness. And so we are continuing, but the last verse that Katie just chanted so beautifully is, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. Back to the Torah camp for the ending of this amazing section of Torah.
Mipnei sheva takum v'hadarta penei zaken ve'areta me'elohecha ani Adonai ve'hiyagur itecha ger be'artzechem lo tonu oto ke'ezrach mikem yehiyeh lachem Hager Hagar itechem ve'ahavta lo kamocha ki gerim heitem be'eretz Mitzrayim ani Adonai Elohechem lo ta'asu avel b'mishpat b'midah b'mishkal uvamesura mozne tzedek avnei tzedek Ephat Tzedek, Ve'hin Tzedek Yehiyeh Lachem, Ani Adonai Elohechem, Asher Hotzeti Etchem Me'eretz Mitzrayim. Ushmartem et kol chukotai, ve'et kol mishpatai, ve'asitem otam, Ani Adonai.
Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chaye olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Kiddushim tihiyu, you shall be holy on this, the holiest day of the year. We are reminded in synagogues all over the world, we're reading this section of Torah, reminding us of what it truly requires of all of us to lead a holy life and to be able to have such amazing Torah readers, to be able to continue this tradition. Nina, to know that your grandfather, a Holocaust survivor, read from this scroll, and now you carry that on in his honor and in his memory is such a gift. And again, it's very fragile, but I invite the congregation to rise as we hold up this Torah for everyone to see that it is in no way ever going to be destroyed. It's not going to be put in a museum. It is a living document. It is a Eitz Chaim. It is a tree of life that continues to grow in so many wonderful, wonderful ways. Second Jonah speaker today is someone who grew up in Glencoe, has been around for a long time. My friend Rachel Beitler, whose closest friend died of a drug overdose, and she spoke so beautifully at that funeral. And she truly is a soul Jedi, which is your website.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Rachel Beitler, and it's an honor to be here and to speak to you today. There's a concept that was introduced to me by a mentor called the surrounding light. And the surrounding light is that thing that you need to do that keeps knocking on the door of your consciousness. And it represents your potential, that gut feeling that says, do it, commit. Go to your next level. Because everyone here is on a mission. And it's always connected to illuminating the world around you with your unique energy. Can you run from your destiny? The assignment we're on is always connected to giving and sharing. And it's something only you can do. And it's there when you feel the pressure. And it won't stop knocking. It's kind of annoying because it wants to find you. So I know we're not, it's the story of Jonah and the whale is not to be taken literally, but in 2001, Michael Packard from Massachusetts was diving for lobsters like he normally does when a humpback whale swallowed him for approximately 40 seconds, and he survived. Doctors sent him home that day. Sometimes what we're required to do can make us a bit uncomfortable, so we try to avoid it, procrastinate, delay escape into mind-altering activities, shut ourselves down. Everyone can relate to the story in some way. Nobody wants pain, but pain is a warning signal, that something has to be done. It's like you've gone off in some way. So it was my sophomore year of high school. That was when I first became bulimic. Greek bulimia, ravenous hunger. This was all throughout high school, all throughout college, and sometime after that. And it wasn't until after college that it dawned on me to ask for help or tell anyone. I spent so much time, over a decade, trying to flee on some ship from this. And the thing about bulimia and emotional disorders is that all too often they're secretive. People just don't talk about it. But it consumes so many of us. And if you take away the nuances, it's just like any other self-destructive behavior. It completely fills the consciousness with a sensory experience, so there's no space for any painful emotion or thought to flood the system in the short term, of course. And then it's in the more subtle forms, it's stuff like overworking and scrolling and shopping, etc. I wasn't hungry for food, I was hungry for the fruit of life itself, a deeper connection to meaning and purpose and to my calling, and that's all of us. I notice that people aren't exactly lining up to speak about bulimia to a couple hundred of their closest friends. I don't know any other social workers, dedicated to the light force of the Creator that also love public speaking. I'm like the only one that showed up to this party. I'm absolutely shocked. I thought there'd be a line out the door. It's just that I'm very confident that it's in our vulnerabilities that end up being our greatest tests of courage and a marker of true confidence. Authenticity is the currency of the time. You wouldn't typically eat the peel of a banana, but if you were an alien and you didn't know any better, you might not notice that beneath the bitter exterior is something quite sweet. I think what we fear most about ourselves is never as scary as it seems, and it actually contains our greatest gifts. Also, I realized when looking up the story of Jonah and the whale, I'm like, he lived for 3 days inside the belly of the whale, after which the whale vomited up Jonah. I'm like, the whale is bulimic. This fish is our savior. I gave a speech at Benji Cohen's funeral. That was what brought me here. And he was my oldest friend, and he died at 29 because he was holding so much in and trying to manage it on his own like I was. And I wish he was here so I could have told him that. But also for him, getting help meant leaving his job, and he worked hard to get it, and he wanted to be successful, which is heartbreaking, but not surprising. Like the city of Nineveh, our environment can be toxic to our deeper soul selves, to who we truly are. And it leaves many of us searching for our true meaning and fulfillment. And as long as you're searching for it externally, you can be 100% sure you're not going to find it. And it seems like the opposite of what we're shown. My teacher, Cherie, told me, she's like, Rachel, we live in an anti-life culture. And it's nobody's fault, but it's all of our responsibility. My first therapist told me that I was emotionally starving. I grew up here in Glencoe, and we're one of the wealthiest communities in the country, and I felt connection impoverished. Eating disorders, addiction, anxiety, depression, the rise of suicidality, the storm rages, and it feels so unnecessary. It's like we've become obsessed with the peel of the banana that we've forgotten all about the fruit. The raging sea of chaos is created by not living up to our calling. We all know what we need to do. Maybe you need to call that person and forgive them. But we all know what our surrounding light is. When you take responsibility, when you're accountable, and you don't just bury it, cover it up, numb it, and ignore it, a whale will come. It will be sent your way to help you, to propel you. Thank you.
Thank you. Rachel, you bring amazing comfort to all of us. And your path, your desired path now as a social worker, is really making a huge difference. And this community, thanks you.
Nachamu, Nachamu, Ami, Yomar Elohechem, Nachamu, Nachamu, Ami, Yomar Elohechem. Comfort us, comfort us in our wilderness. Comfort us as we struggle to take care of one another. Comfort us in our wilderness. Comfort us as we struggle with this world.
By coming together on this Day of Atonement, we hope that we will find comfort. And perhaps we find that in taking the time to really reflect and to look inside. We get the chance to see who we are, but more than that, we get to think about who we want to be. But we are taught that today reflection is not enough, that we also require action. That to get from who we are to who we want to be, there's certain things that we need to do. And one of those things is we need to ask forgiveness. And we need to confess anything that's holding us back from being our best selves. So we turn to page 412, where we enter into our final opportunity before the gates close to ask forgiveness. As parents show tenderness to their children, may you show mercy to those who worship you. Like the heavens that tower above the earth, your love is powerful for those who revere you. Liberation is a gift from God, a blessing upon your people. You are the God of all we can perceive, our haven, the God of Yaakov. And you are the God of all that is beyond our perception. The one who has faith in you is fortunate. Sovereign God, show us the way to freedom. Answer us on this day of our calling out to you. Together, Moses prayed to God, as you have been faithful to this people ever since Egypt, please forgive their failings now, in keeping with your boundless love. V'sham na'amar vayomer Adonai, salachti kidvarecha. And God responded, I forgive as you have asked.
Our third Jonah speaker and final Jonah speaker is Lauren Bennett. I wasn't going to ask her to speak. Come on up. As you'll hear, Lauren went to the parade on July 4th and was shot by 2 bullets. And it wasn't until I read your personal statement in the newspaper that I had the courage to pick up the phone and ask you to come today and speak. And we are truly honored to have you here.
Hello, my name is Lauren Bennett, and I was shot multiple times on the 4th of July. That morning, I attended the Highland Park Parade with my family. This included my husband, my 2 youngest sons, my parents, and my husband's parents. To understand my ordeal, please envision a place that you feel most happy and safe. And then if you can, imagine the unimaginable, because that is what we experienced that day. During these first moments of the parade, literally out of the clear blue sky, I heard what sounded like how I would describe as many firecrackers going off, but sounding more violent, more precise, and with direct aim. Within the first few seconds, while most people were unaware of what was happening, I was hit for the first time. I felt a tight shock in my back and hip and saw my entire lower left side was bleeding. I knew right then we were under attack. At that precise moment, I assumed I was a target, and maybe I was, because when I got up to run, I was hit again by another bullet that deeply cut through my upper back. It's hard to release the words of what happened to my body because it's so surreal. One bullet entered my lower back, right next to my spine, and exited through my hip, tearing through my body's tissue. The other bullet deeply tore through my upper back, and just like my lower back, this bullet was also a hairline from my spine. This one was directly behind my lungs and heart, fortunately not a centimeter deeper, or else I would not be standing here today. That day, my family dodged bullets, jumped over falling bodies. My children were running behind me, looking at my blood-soaked body, and they assumed their mother was probably bleeding to death. We survived in a battle zone that day, and will carry the most horrendous images with us for the rest of our lives. As we've been healing in these following weeks, we have come to terms with the reality that perpetual safety in the most shieldest of places is non-existent. Our experience will forever be with us, some of us physically, many of us mentally, and who knows how these injuries will manifest in days or years to come. One thing is for certain, moving forward, my family and I learned on that violent and traumatic day that we are all constantly in the line of fire, and until we realize this, so shall we remain. While healing during these past few weeks, my bullet wounds have slowly closed up, and conversely, my mind has opened up. I sometimes wonder if I will be in the belly of the whale forever, because dealing with the intense trauma of the July 4th mass shooting will forever be in my thoughts and weighing on my heart. But as time slowly passes, I'm beginning to see a glimmer of light. I don't yet have all the answers, but I know that I need to find the reason and meaning in all of this. I find it through love. Love of my family. 3 strong generations, from babies to grandparents and everyone in between, who all share their own form of wisdom with one another. Love of my husband, who protected me that day and every day. Love of my neighbors and community, who have been right by my side in my recovery, always checking in. Love of the strangers, who often stop me on the street and embrace me in tears. Love of my friends, who literally dropped everything for me and lifted me up. They knew when to sit with me and talk, or sit with me and be silent, because sometimes that's exactly what I needed. I find it through humor, because sometimes you just need to laugh and not take anything too seriously. Most importantly, I find it through my purpose in all of this, which is ever evolving. I am here, I lived through hell, but I survived. I will stand on my feet and I will advocate and I will leave the world better for our children. I am progressing forward and aware that there will always be setbacks. But I know my will to survive has proven its strength, and I know the right direction I must go. Surrounded by love and driven by purpose, I will find my way. Thank you. Thank you.
We are all Jonah. We're prone to fleeing from the things that we don't want to face, the truths we just don't want to own up to, the work in the world that we don't want to have to do. Here we are, in the belly of the whale. Together we're transported this afternoon into a place deep and strange, the message of humanity uncertain. Fear and fragility speak to us at this time of heightened awareness. Jonah reminds us of the daunting tasks that await each of us. We can't avoid it any longer. This year we truly heard from three amazing individuals. Three individuals who taught us about life, about a brother, about ourselves, about a community. Three individuals that emerged from the belly of the whale stronger, more beautiful, more committed, and more open than ever before. We all learn from the three of you. And all we can say is thank you. Nachamu, nachamu ami. Comfort. Comfort my people.
Comfort us in our wilderness. Comfort us as we struggle to take care of one another. Comfort us in our wilderness. Comfort us as we struggle with this world. Nachamu, Ami, Yomar Elohechem. Nachamu, Ami, Yomar Elohechem.
Continuing on page 422.
Just use mine.
We read responsively by line, by section. Failures of integrity. We wrong you when we wrong ourselves. Together, for our failures of integrity, Adonai, we seek
forgiveness
for passing judgment without knowledge of the facts,
and for distorting facts to suit our purposes,
for succumbing in silence to social pressure,
and for acquiescing in beliefs we find offensive,
for using others' bad behavior to excuse our own, for pretending to emotions we do not feel,
and for appearing to be other than who we are.
for condemning in our children the faults we tolerate in ourselves, for tolerating in ourselves
the faults we condemn in our parents.
Failures of justice. We dishonor you when we dishonor our society. For our failures of justice, Adonai, we seek forgiveness. For being indifferent to deprivation and hunger, accepting a culture of self-indulgence and greed. For abuse of power in boardrooms, courtrooms, and classrooms.
For accepting the neglect of children and elders, the ill and the weak.
For permitting social inequalities to prevail. For lacking the vision to stand for herself. For glorifying violence and turning hastily to war. And for allowing history to repeat itself. For behaviors that risk the future of our planet, and for wreaking havoc on our only true inheritance.
God's creation.
Failures of love. We sin against you when we hurt one another.
For our failures of love, Adonai, we seek forgiveness.
For exploiting another for our own pleasure.
And for wounds we cause through betrayal and deception.
For withholding affection from those we claim to love.
For using love to control our spouses and partners, our children and parents.
For abandoning friends and siblings whose love has sustained us.
For neglecting those whose love.
For harboring in our relationships mistrust, boredom, and disloyalty.
For rejecting our partner's efforts at repair and renewal.
For possessiveness, jealousy, and avarice.
For lashing out in anger at those.
Ve'al kulam Elohas lichot zelach lanu mechal lanu kaper lanu. For all of these failures, God of forgiveness, forgive us, pardon us, lead us to atonement.
And so now we move towards Yizkor. Yizkor. The very word means remember. Yizkor is not about theories or concepts. Yizkor is about love. Yizkor is our chance to give time and space to the memories of those no longer living, those still vibrating in our hearts like the strings of a harp. I've always been amazed at the harp, how the strings come together to make a beautiful sound. Each one has its own sound, its own purpose, and together it fills the silence with music. Our lives have a great many more strings than a harp. Our tradition brings us to Yizkor, because although we do not often dwell with grief alone, we are not alone. We don't have to be alone. There is strength in sitting together with our fellow travelers in grief, because there is strength in remembering and weeping together, in knowing that we've made it this far, in knowing that our loved ones will never be forgotten. Each day we find the strength to face the next day, the good days, the hard days. Each day we find healing from some way, from someone. We gather because for all the tears and loneliness in their absence, Yizkor's promise is that love is the antidote to grief, because love transcends death. So I invite you to think of the people that you love, the people that you're missing today. I invite you to think of all those special people who are woven into the fabric of our lives, who will never be forgotten. Page 546. Our days, like the grass of the field, like flowers in the meadow, vanish in a momentary gust of wind, gone never to be seen again. But God's love is infinite and with us forever.
Page 549. The death of a loved one is the most profound of all sorrows. The grief that comes with such a loss is intense and multifaceted, affecting our emotions, our bodies, and our lives. Grief is preoccupying and depleting. Emotionally, grief is a mixture of raw feelings, such as sorrow, anguish, anger, regret, longing, fear, and deprivation. Grief may be experienced physically as exhaustion, emptiness, tension, sleeplessness, and loss of appetite. Grief invades our daily lives in many sudden gaps and changes, like that empty place at the dinner table or the sudden loss of affection and companionship, as well as in many new apprehensions, adjustments, and uncertainties. The loss of a loved one throws every aspect of our lives out of balance. The closer we were to the person who died, the more havoc the loss creates. Love does not die quickly. Hence, to grieve is also to celebrate the depth of the union. Tears are then the jewels of remembrance, sad but glistening with the beauty of the past. So grief in its bitterness marks the end, but it also is praise to the one who is gone. Page 556. Page 559. In my darkness, be a light to me. In my loneliness, help me to find a soul akin to my own. Give me strength to live with courage, and give me courage to draw blessing from life, even in the midst of suffering, to hold fast against the storm, to smile at a loved one's glance. Especially in our darkness, it's the memories of our loved ones who bring us light. And as we reflect on their strength and their courage, perhaps we find what we need to keep moving forward. And so we take some time now to read through the meditations that we can find on the following pages, 559 through 578.
Having just heard those beautiful words of the 23rd Psalm, we read these words together. A Psalm of David. Together, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord. I've always loved Rabbi Harold Kushner's quote. The version of the Psalm's second line would read, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall often want. I shall yearn, I shall long, I shall aspire, I shall continue to miss the people and the abilities that are taken from my life as loved ones die and skills diminish. I shall probe the empty spaces in my life like a tongue probing a missing tooth. But I will never feel deprived or diminished if I don't get what I yearn for, because I know how blessed I am by what I have. And so we recite the names of the people. Even though we think about how blessed we are, we know that there is a gaping hole for someone that we love, for someone who lives on through God's gift of memory. If you have a memorial candle, when you hear your loved one's name, I ask that you turn your light on. Or if there's someone that you're specifically thinking of, when it's that letter of the alphabet, and it's someone who died in years past, turn on your light as well. We leave a light on for those people who illuminated the path for us. The name of those who have died, we say today, because they shall not disappear. Our loved ones' names and their memories will endure among us. These are the names on our lips. These are the names on our hearts. Yizkor, we remember. Since last Yom Kippur, we remember Gilbert Abad, Charlotte Agron, Marilyn Arbitman, Esther Arnold, Matthew Ascaritis, Richard Axelrud, Eileen Dunberger, Sally Berger, Susan Ann Berkman, Barbara Bilo, Susie Bisgier. Again, when you hear your loved one's name, hold up your candle so that we can feel their light. We think of Beverly Bleckman, David Blumberg, Hilda Boyskin, Esther Brodsky, Elaine Bronstein, Norman Bunt, Helen Bernstein, Kaylin K. Bussey, Jerome Jerry Chazen, Sherry Cherner, Benjamin Benji Cohen, Ryan Michael Cohen, Lewis Cole, Aaron Colwell, Gene Cooper, Myron Mike Korn, Betty Creighton, Sandra Loveman Crystal, Sandra Crown, Anita Kaplan Cutler, Fern Bombchill Davis, Jeff Davis, Stephen H. Davis, Audrey Eccles, Lana Eisenberg, Mel Ellis, Blair Epstein, Carolyn Ann Etten, Rabbi Frederick Eisenberg, Alvin Feld, Emil Feller, Janice Feinberg, Pearl Fish, Cedar Foley, Stanley Franklin Friedland, Andrew Friedman, Monique Friedman, William Glazer, Jay Glickman, Stephen Gold, Renee Goldberg, Ronald Goldberg, Mark D. Goldish, Jerry Goldman, Catherine Goldstein, Rosalind Roz Goldstein, Adrian Goodman, Larry Goodman, Jeffrey Grade, Manu Menachem Gradator, Melvin Green, Callan Griffin, Phyllis Groffman, Harry Grossman, Alfred Al Gruen, Stanley Gutenberg, Earl Halfand, Diane D.D. Heller, Judge Earl Hoffenberg, Les Hoffman, Richard Dick Hoffman, Herbert Jacobson, Gerald Ray Jaffe, Susan Kahn, Bernice Nisi Kaplan, Dr. Jerome Kaplan, Phyllis Casrell, Faye Catlin, Ann Katz, Lois Elaine Kaufman, Marion Kaufman, Paul Kehoe, George Kerman, Sharon King, Robert Bobby Kingsley, Ari Kaselowitz, Kurt Kleinman, Lori Klingman, Nancy Kopelman, Phyllis Goldblatt Chipman Kopp, Jeffrey Korach, Aida Yida Kornhauser, Peter Kroll, Judy Kubert, Michael Landsman, Elaine Lang, Paul Lapping, Dr. William Levitt, Sig Lefkowitz, Leonard Leibowitz, Judith Levin, Nadine Levin, Dr. Stanley Robert Levine, Richard Lewis, Stephen Howard Lewis, Lee Buzzy Lipman, Daniel Latrento, Helen Lokosh, Julie Jansen Magnus, Harold Malin, Alan Maltonfort, Howard Butch Mandel, Diane Massey, Marianne Mayer, Don McBride, Irina McCarthy, Kevin McCarthy, Earl Madansky, Francis Malamed, Carol Mendelson, Jean Mesh, James Stewart Millen, Nathan Miller, David Nadler, Martha Neal, Barbara Newman, Betty Newman, Ronald Newmark, Rochelle North, Sarah Singer Nori, Nancy Nozika, Bernard Nusinow, Summer Obernauer Sr., Timothy O'Connick, Albert Page, Alan Poller, Pam Palmer, Mel Pearl, Barry Peltz, Joan Quicksilver, Dorothy Rabin, Dr. Stanley G. Rabinowitz, Robert Reinisch, Herbert Reitman, Ivan Reitman, Linda Beth Richter, Bridget Riley, Michael Robert Ritter, Bruce Ronner, Melvin Rosenberg, Richard Rosenfield, Marilyn Roth, Earl Rubin, Esther Rubin, Evan Rubin, Evelyn Salk, Stephen Sandusky, Ernest Ernie Scharf, Martin Schachter, Albert Al Schulman, Glenn Schwartz, Olivia Grace Surgott, Lynn Shapiro, Barbara Scharfstein, Robert Bob Sheridan, Leonard Sherman, Harry Sigismund, Ruth Silberman, Bev Silverman, Bud Silverman, Harold Sirkin, Donald Statland, Suzanne Stern, Jack Stone, Philip Stone, Stephen Strauss, Jackie Lovey Sundheim, Bruce Trannon, Hannah Tannenbaum, Morton Tater, Christopher Lee Thomason, Eduardo Uvaldo, Flora Weiss, Riley Whitlaw, Phyllis Winter, Ellen Wolfe, Brian Wolkenberg, Harumi Yamada, Craig Steven Zabo, Nicholas Toledo Zaragoza. Please hold your candles up high to bring light into this room, to bring the memories of those people that we hold so close into our hearts. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and together we'll dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Love doesn't die, people do. So when all that's left of me is love, give me away. Life and death go hand in hand. Love is stronger than death. And so as we look at these lights, as we look at the faces of those holding the lights, we walk with you each step along the way. Your loved ones will never be forgotten. They are woven into the fabric of our lives. And together we rise for the memorial prayer, page 598. Keep those candles up high. El Malei Rachamim, Shochein Bamromim, Hamsei Menucha Nechona Tachat Kanfei Ashchina. Merciful God, God Most High, let there be perfect rest for the souls of all of our loved ones who have gone into eternity in this past year, and those who have gone into eternity and they live within our hearts. May they find shelter in your presence among the holy and pure, whose light shines like the radiance of heaven. Compassionate God, hold them close to you forever. May their souls be bound up in the bond of life eternal. May they find a home in you. May they rest in peace. And together, let's all say, Amen. And immediately after El Malei Rachamim, we offer Mourner's Kaddish together on page 606. Yitgadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah, Ba'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, B'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei dekol Beit Yisrael, B'agala v'zman kariv v'imru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah mavarach leolam omei omaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitroman v'yitnaseh, V'yit hadar v'yit taleh v'yit talal shmei dekudsha brichu la'ela ula'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tush b'chata v'nechamata damiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shamaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Useh shalom b'mromav hu yaseh shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'al kol yoshvei tevel, v'imru. Amen. May the one who makes peace in the high heavens let peace descend on us and on all who mourn. And let us all say together, Amen. We arrive at Ne'ilah. We hope that you stayed till the end. We have built up to this moment. This is our community. This is the final moment. If you happen to leave now, feel free to take your candle and the service healing book with you. Together, we head towards Ne'ilah with the strength of our community behind us as we come into these gates with open hearts, ready for a new year.
The sun is setting, the gates are closing, the day is through. Sun is setting, the gates are closing, we're here with you. Keep open the gates. Keep open the gates for us. Keep open the gates at the end of the day. At the end of the day. P'tach lanu shad b'nei ilah shad. P'tach lanu shad b'nei ilah shad. The sun is setting, the gates are closing. We're here with you.
Page 612. The long day is almost over and the gates are closing. Slowly day fades into dusk. Soon the earth will darken, our bodies weak and weary, our inner strength undiminished.
This day has been a gift, uncluttered time, free from hurry and routine, appointments or assignments, a time to face our sins and imperfections, our dreams and yearnings for the life we want to live, a time to leave the clamor of the world and attend to the voice within.
Long ago, the temple gates were locked at dusk. So too, at this hour, the gates of Yom Kippur begin to close. Have we done all that needed to be done, said everything that needed to be said?
The gates of God's compassion never close, but soon enough our lives close in on us. Together, now in the silence of the soul, now before the holy day comes to an end, release the unshed
Deepest
prayers locked in our hearts.
Page 628. Pitchu lanu sharei tzedek. Open the gates of righteousness for us. Open the gates that we may enter and praise the eternal. Together, open the gates for us, for all Israel, and for people everywhere. The gates of acceptance and atonement, beauty and creativity. The gates of dignity, empathy, and faith. The gates of generosity and hope, insight and joy. The gates of knowledge and love, meaning and nobility. The gates of openness, patience, and the quest for peace. The gates of renewal, song, and tranquility. The gates of understanding and virtue. The gates of wisdom and wonder, exultation, youth, and old age. The gates of Zion, reborn and rebuilt in our time. Open the gates, open them wide, show us the way to enter.
Pitchu lanu sharei tzedek, navovam nodea. Pitchu lanu sharei tzedek, navovam nodea. Pitchu lanu sharei
Page 659. We continue responsively by line. We have aspired to reach higher.
We have befriended those in need.
We have created works of beauty.
We have delighted in holy books.
We have embraced our dear ones and held them close.
We have fought for justice.
We have given of ourselves.
We have honored your mitzvot.
We have immersed ourselves in prayer.
We have joined hands to build community.
We have kept our word with integrity.
We have loved faithfully and well.
We have moved toward the light.
We have nourished and supported.
We have opened ourselves to hope.
We have pursued the good.
We have quieted our anger.
We have remembered those who came before.
We have sought meaning in Torah.
We have trusted and been trustworthy.
We have uttered words of beauty.
We have vigorously struggled to do right.
We have wept over our shortcomings.
We have exchanged blame for compassion.
We have yearned to make life better.
We have successfully rejoiced.
Page 663. Ezrat nafshenu makor chayenu, our soul sustainer, source of life, we stand as one before the one. Each solitary soul, each fragment of the whole, a congregation of fears, dreams, and hopes, regret and joy, questions unanswered. Where is justice? When will there be peace? Who can mend our shattered hearts? Some are starving, some are dying alone. Many are suffering in need of our love. How far can our hands reach?
Ezrat nafshenu makor chayenu, our soul sustainer, source of our life, the gates of hope are ours to open. Still the wind of creation blows, sweeping over the darkness, building cosmos out of chaos, evolving order and complexity, shining light into the shadows, wresting beauty out of brokenness and failure. Still the wind of creation blows, the world is still becoming, and
Ezrat
are still
nafshenu.
emerging.
Ezrat nafshenu makor chayenu. Let healing come. Let it come through deeds of tzedakah and chesed. Let it come through us, our hands, our love. Please rise, page 664. Avinu Malkeinu Chotmenu B'Sefer Chaim Tovim. Together, Avinu Malkeinu, seal us in the book of lives well lived. Avinu Malkeinu Chotmenu B'Sefer Geula V'Yeshua. Avinu Malkeinu, seal us in the book of redemption. Avinu Malkeinu Malei Yadenu Mibirchotecha. Avinu Malkeinu, let our hands overflow with your blessings. Avinu Malkeinu Patach Shar Shamayim Litfilatenu. Avinu Malkeinu, let the gates of heaven be open to our prayer. Avinu Malkeinu Chadesh Aleinu Shana Tova.
Avinu Malkeinu, renew us for a year of goodness.
Avinu Malkeinu Ein Lanu Melech Ela Ata.
Avinu Malkeinu, we have no sovereign but you.
Avinu Malkeinu Chonenu Va'anenu Ki Ein Banu Ma'asim Aseh Imanu Tzedakah V'Chesed V'Hoshienu. Avinu Malkeinu, Almighty and merciful, answer us with grace when our deeds are wanting. Save us through acts of justice and love.
Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Koleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chadanu Lefanecha. Avinu Malkeinu, Chumul Aleinu.
666. Lift yourselves, gates of heaven, rise high. Be carried aloft, everlasting portals, that the sovereign of splendor may enter. Who is the sovereign of splendor? The eternal soul of the universe, the sublime. This is the sovereign of splendor. Page 668, together, the full Kaddish. We remain standing. Yitgadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah. Ba'alma divrach hiruteh v'yamlich machuteh. B'chai echon v'yom echon uv'chaye dekol Beit Yisrael. Ba'agala v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shleim mavarach leolam omeh omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitroman v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shmei dekudsha brichu. La'ela ula'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbachata v'nechamata. Damiran be'alma v'imru amen. Titkabel tzloton uvatuhon tekol Yisrael kedem avuhon di vishmaya v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Useh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. We remain standing, page 670. We stand as one before the gates of a new year, renewed by this day of atonement, made stronger by all who are with us, and by those whose presence we feel within. As the long day fades into dusk, we join our voices in words of hope and dedication. Pitchu lanu sharei tzedek, navovam node'ah. Open for us the gates of righteousness, that we may enter and praise the eternal source of life.
Open for us the gates of sacred community, that we may enter and feel its healing power.
Open for us the gates of truth and integrity, that we may enter and grow in faithfulness.
Open for us the gates of devotion and principle, that we may enter and find enduring values and meaning.
Open for us the gates of repentance and return, that we may enter and offer our best.
Open for us the gates of forgiveness, that we may enter and offer our humanity.
Together, open for us the gates of kindness and compassion, that we may enter and offer our love.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam.
Tekiah.
Shivarim.
Tekiah Gedolah.
Can we dim the lights again?
For the Jews there was light. And so we sing.
ליהודים הייתה אורה, הייתה אורה, ושמחה וששון ליהודים הייתה אורה, הייתה אורה, ושמחה וששון כן תהיה לנו
Okay, come on up closer.
Today is Shabbat Shabbaton, the great Shabbat, and so as we end Shabbat always with Havdalah, page 674, a blessing over wine to make this transition sweet, a blessing over spices to help us to know that we move into a sweet and spicy new year, and the light.
The light that continues to shine, the light that continues to illuminate the way for all of us. If you haven't touched a candle, make sure you get a candle. Feel free to pass that light on, share that light with everyone. And then after we do the spices and the wine, after we hold up the candles, anyone with the candle, you'll come on up and we'll all have the lights here to extinguish together.
To be the light.
To be the light. goes on, we keep these lights burning. As Motel 6 says, we'll leave a light on for you. And so this light continues to be on for all of us. We catch a reflection, we are that light. We share that light. We extinguish them one by one. Let's get yours first. Dip it in. Just dip it in. Perfect. Perfect. We involve all of our senses. Even though we're putting these lights out, we hope and pray that you'll never let the light go out. We know you won't. Keep that light burning as brightly as possible. There's only one left, and you've got it. You are the light. Couldn't have worked out any better. God, you bring light to all of us. You bring hope to all of us. You open our broken hearts. You remind us to do good. Sometimes in this course of this year, we're going to feel like we're in the belly of the whale. And other times, we're going to just feel that joy. We're going to bench Gomel because we made it. And that's the beauty. That's the beauty of what we have and what we do. Next year, in Jerusalem, next year, in peace, may we be inscribed and sealed in the book of life. May this be a Shana Shlema, a full and complete year for all of us. Amen. We're going to just end. We usually don't do it. Shechianu. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, shechianu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. To our choir, to Ken, thank you. To our amazing cantors, Cantor Bach, Cantor Markowitz, Cantor Staple, Katie House, thank you. To Orna, an amazing, amazing conductor. To our BEMA guests, to our tech team, to our security team, to everyone, maintenance, who their job starts right now because we got to get this building ready. But we did it, and we are so blessed. Thank you so much for sharing this high holiday experience with us.
Shana
Amen.
Tova.
Amen. Shana Tova.
Shabbat.